Let me tell you about a phone call I get about once a month. It's a business owner, usually runs a company with somewhere between 20 and 50 employees, and the call always starts the same way. Rob, we just got a letter from our biggest customer. They want proof that we have a cybersecurity program. They want policies. They want evidence of risk assessments. They want to know who's in charge of security, and we have none of that. Or here's the other version. Rob, we just applied for cyber insurance and got denied. The carrier said we don't have an incident response plan, we don't have MFA everywhere, and we don't have anyone accountable for security. What do? What they need is a CISO, a Chief Information Security Officer. What they can't afford is a full-time one. The average CISO salary in the US is north of $250,000 a year. For a 30-person company doing $5 million in revenue, that's not a hire. That's a fantasy. But here's the thing. You don't need a full-time CISO. You need a fractional one. And that's what I do. I've spent over 35 years in IT, 23 of those in cybersecurity. I hold a bunch of degrees in cybersecurity certs. And I run Infosec Fortress, where I serve as a fractional CISO for small businesses. Today, I'm going to show you exactly what that means, what it looks like week to week, and how to know if your company needs one. Here's the reality for small businesses in 2026. 1 in 3 small and mid-sized businesses experienced a cyber attack in the past year. Attack costs ran as high as $7 million, and 88% of ransomware attacks are now hitting small businesses, not the Fortune 500. Why? Because attackers have figured out the math. Big companies have security teams, SOCs, million-dollar tool sets. A 30-person company? They've got an IT guy who also manages the copier. Maybe they outsource to an MSP that handles patching and antivirus.
But nobody is thinking strategically about security. Nobody is looking at risk. Nobody owns it.
And that's the gap. It's not a technology gap. You can buy all the tools you want. It's a leadership gap. You don't have anyone whose job it is to say, here are our risks, here's our plan, here's what we're doing about it, and here's the evidence. That's what a CISO does. And a fractional CISO does it without the $300K salary. Alright, so let me break down what I actually do when a company brings me on as their fractional CISO. I'm gonna walk you through the first 90 days, and then what ongoing engagement looks like. First 30 days is all about understanding where you are. I'm doing a gap assessment. I'm looking at your environment, what systems you have, how your network is set up, who has access to what data you're handling, and where your biggest exposures are. I'm interviewing your key people, your IT person, or your MSP, your office manager, your operations lead. I want to understand how work actually gets done, not how you think it gets done. I'm reviewing your existing policies, if you have any. Most companies at this size have maybe a password policy from 2018 that nobody follows, and that's about it. And I'm looking at your regulatory and contractual obligations. Are you handling CUI for the Department of Defense? Are you processing health data? Do your customers require specific security controls? Because that changes everything about what you need to prioritize. At the end of 30 days, you get a written risk assessment and a prioritized roadmap. Not a 200-page report that collects dust. A clear, plain English document that says, here are your top 10 risks, here's what we fix first, here's what it'll cost, and here's the timeline. Phase 2 is where we start building. This is where I'm writing your security policies, not boilerplate junk pulled off the internet. Policies that actually match how your business operates. Access control, incident response, acceptable use, data protection, configuration management. I'm also hardening your environment. If you're running Microsoft 365, and almost all of you are, I'm locking down your tenant. Conditional access policies, phishing protections, multi-factor authentication, enforced everywhere, not just suggested. Sensitivity labels on your data so sensitive files don't walk out the door when someone shares a link they shouldn't. And I'm setting up your security awareness training. Because the #1 attack vector is still your people clicking on things they shouldn't. AI-generated phishing emails are now succeeding at a rate of 54%. Your employees need to be trained, tested, and retrained.
By the end of 90 days, you have a functioning cybersecurity program.
Policies, controls, evidence, and someone accountable.
You can hand that to a customer, an auditor, or an insurance carrier and say, here's our program, and here's who runs it.
After the initial build, I shift to ongoing engagement. This is usually somewhere between 8 and 20 hours a month, depending on the company's size and complexity. What does that look like? I'm reviewing your vulnerability scan results. I'm monitoring your security posture. I'm meeting with your MSP to make sure they're actually doing what they said they'd do. I'm updating policies as threats evolve or regulations change. I'm running your annual risk assessment. I'm conducting tabletop exercises, basically fire drills for ransomware.
And I'm the person your insurance carrier calls when there's a question. I'm the person your customer's auditor talks to. I'm the name on your org chart next to Chief Information Security Officer. I'm your CISO. I'm just not there 40 hours a week because you don't need me 40 hours a week. So who actually needs this? Let me give you 5 signs that your company needs a fractional CISO.
1. You have no one accountable for cybersecurity. Your IT guy does security as a side task, but nobody owns the program. 2. A customer, prime contractor, or regulator is asking you to prove you have a security program and you can't. 3. You applied for or renewed cyber insurance and either got denied or your premiums doubled. 4. You're handling sensitive data, whether that's controlled unclassified information for DoD, patient health data, financial records, or proprietary designs. And you have no formal data protection program. 5. You're growing. You're winning bigger contracts, onboarding more customers, and you know that one breach could undo all of it.
If any of those sound familiar, you don't need to go hire a $250,000 executive. You need someone who can come in, build the program, run the program, and be there when it matters, at a fraction of the cost. Let's talk money, because I know that's what you're thinking about.
A full-time CISO costs $250,000 to $400,000 a year in salary and benefits. That's before they ask for a budget to buy tools. A fractional CISO, depending on scope, typically runs somewhere between $3,000 and $10,000 a month. For a 30-person company, you're probably looking at the lower end of that range. That's the cost of one mid-level employee. Except this person brings 20+ years of experience, holds advanced certifications, and has done this across dozens of companies. Now let's talk about what it costs to not have one. The average cost of a data breach for a small business is $150,000. That's the average, some are in the millions. Ransomware payments alone averaged $1.5 million last year. And that's before you count down time, lost customers, legal fees, and reputational damage. And here's the one nobody talks about: lost contracts. If you can't pass a security assessment from your biggest customer, you don't just lose that contract. You lose every future contract that customer would have sent you. I've seen companies lose 7-figure relationships because they couldn't produce an incident response plan.
A fractional CISO isn't a cost. It's the cheapest insurance you'll ever buy. If you're sold on the idea, let me give you a quick framework for evaluating a fractional CISO, whether that's me or someone else.
First, look for real-world experience. Not someone who just passed a certification exam. You want someone who's built programs, responded to incidents, and worked with businesses your size. Ask them, what's the smallest company you've served? If the answer is 5,000 employees, they're going to over-engineer everything for your 30-person shop. Second, look for certifications that matter. CISSP, CISM, and CISO are the gold standard. These aren't easy to get and they require ongoing continuing education.
Third, make sure they can communicate with your leadership, not just your IT team. The biggest value a fractional CISO brings is translating technical risk into business risk. If they can't explain it to your CFO, they're the wrong person.
And fourth, look for deliverables. A good fractional CISO should produce tangible artifacts, policies, risk assessments, remediation plans, evidence packages, not just meetings and advice. You should be able to point to a shelf, physical or digital, and say, that's our security program.
If anything in this video resonated with you, if you're sitting there thinking, yeah, that's us, we don't have a security program, we don't have anyone in charge of this, and we know we need to fix it, here's what I'd suggest.
I offer a free 30-minute consultation where we talk through your situation, your obligations, and your risks. No pitch, no pressure, just a straight conversation about where you are and what you need. The link is in the description below, or you can go to defensiveconsultants.com.
And if you found this helpful, do me a favor. Subscribe to this channel. I put out content every week on cybersecurity for small businesses. Practical stuff. No hype. No fear-mongering. Just what you need to know to protect your company. I'm Rob with Infosec Fortress. Stay safe out there.